court. Would you like to help me out on this poem with some sound effects?
Sure. What's it about?
Well, you'll see as we go along. Use your imagination.
Okay.
Since the beginning of creation, dating back to dinosaurs. Yeah, that's it.
Like that?
Who'd forced their will to take a meal on the weaker carnivore. Dragon creatures did exist, credited with gifts of wisdom, courage, foresight among their blessed list. And from the start, warriors tried to snuff out the dragon's breath and force their will and show their skill at the triumph of its death. When man began to organize and become civilized, there were always some who forced their will toward a selfish enterprise. In one great war, all freedoms lost and people lived as chained, the last dragon slain and cut in three, so no enemy remained. But a prayer was said o'er the dragon's head, an unbelievable prophecy, when 7 minds and 7 hearts would wake him from his sleep. And light would shine throughout mankind, and peace would reign supreme, out of darkness into hope, leaving fear a distant dream. It started with a greedy king who passed his will to his descendants, and even queens who came after him showed no mercy in their presence. This tyrant family ruled the land and for generations reigned, and the history of the Suna,
The Suna?
the Muna,
The Muna?
and the Soggy
The Soggy?
was blood-stained.
Bloodstained?
For years, the tyrants overtaxed and ordered deadly proclamations that pitted one against another as they laughed with satisfaction. A strategy to stay the people in the dark, fearing each other's differences would keep them hating and apart. The Suna worshipped the sun's rays and believed their powers came from praying.
All hail the sun! All hail the sun!
Underneath at midday, they'd congregate a wailing. The Muna believed in the moon's glow, and at midnight every night, they'd bow down and twirl around. It was quite an awesome sight.
Muna, 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 Muna.
The Soggy danced in the rain and lightning without a threat.
Water the bringer of life.
And of course it seemed the Soggy,
Water the
well,
bringer of
they
life.
were always wet.
Water the bringer of life.
The young'uns of the Suna and the Muna and the Soggy played in the forest in their respective territory. One day a cry so shrill it curled the hair upon your neck. A little boy from the Muna had fallen trapped inside a pit. Something greater than their teachings deep inside the girls and boys. Curiosity and compassion to investigate this noise.
What's that? Let's go.
It took cooperation, his life saved, and this was good. Then they all had fun playing games and sharing each other's food. Months had passed, yet secretly they met under the bunga trees.
Bunga tree, bunga tree.
And the events that would unfold would fracture everyone's beliefs. The Suna were out at noon, praying with squinted eyes, when suddenly the earth shook and a full moon appeared in the skies and covered up the noonday rays, and darkness then ensued. By light of day, the sun rolled behind an eerie, black, full moon. The earth shook in its darkness. The people screamed in terror. When all calmed down, they looked around to blame someone for this horror. The tyrant proclamated the Muna had orchestrated the destruction of the Soggy and the Suna with their moon god. So he stated,
Kill the Muna!
and he laughed, intoxicated with his might, and watched the villagers swarm in frantic mobs to fight. The eclipse and the earthquake caused the prophecy to awaken, and the dragon head once buried under clay and sod was shaken. Now those young'uns of the Suna, Muna, and the Soggy, who secretly became friends and met in the forest covertly, had come to know that the moon and sun and rain were all important, and that all beliefs had something that was infinitely potent. Well, on this day of prophecy, when in the forest all together, they came upon this freakish sight poking through the heather. With nervous hands they scraped away the mud and accumulation, and revealed the beauty of the skin of an ancient, mystic dragon.
Look at the scales, the teeth. It's gigantic.
A head, a body, and a tail lay in 3 pieces waiting for the 7 to breathe life into it and a future for the making. A thought occurred as if divine to liberate their people, a plan to overthrow the Tyrant family and their evil. Their 7 minds knew they had the power of the spirit, the collective will to bring peace to earth, and the courage to just do it. Their human hands raised the dragon's skin. They stepped under it with pride. Their 7 hearts courageously became the dragon's heart inside. On they marched with fierce intention to the fortress gates, the royals terrified of their impending fate. A majestic scene, this dragon trotting toward the foe. The villagers cowered behind bush and wall, paralyzed, afraid to show. Unaware of their offspring there and what their young'uns were aspiring, an idealism and an innocence, but not capable for the trying. The tyrant fought with soldiers bought, mercenaries without a home, and the dragon and the 7 were brought to death on the castle stone.
You killed the children.
I didn't kill the children. It's just a story, okay? Let's keep going. Come on. The parents of the Suna, Muna, and the Soggy then caught on that what their children tried to do was what they should have done. So enraged, they forgot their fear, rose up together and found their strength, fought the tyrant and his army, shoulder to shoulder and at great length. They fought until victorious in their children's name and won their freedom for the village by the power they had gained.
It is done. Never again.
The elders of the Suna, Muna, and the Soggy saw the light. They comforted each other and they grieved into the night. They came to understand that what they all believed was important, and that all beliefs have something that was infinitely potent. The light did shine throughout mankind, and peace did reign supreme, out of darkness into hope, leaving fear a distant dream. A bronze statue stands of the dragon and the 7 celebrating, reminding future generations who might be inquiring.
Look at that.
How peace was brought, and at what cost, but also with a caution. Peace is not free, but collectively our wills can turn to action.
All together now.
When we look inside ourselves to find the will, we find our power, and together everyone began not wasting one more hour. Now, our 7 didn't really die, 'cause this is just a story that we tell.
Thank goodness.
But the message is very clear of the soldiers who really fell. The bronze statues, the memorials, with the names of soldiers past and present who have stood against and in a tyrant's path. Remember them, they gave their all for the liberty of those oppressed and under tyranny of stronger wills of foes. Peace is bought in pieces by many hands and many minds. A cooperation of the spirits can change the future of mankind.
Wow, that's a great story. Can you read it again?